D.C. Attorney Nick Reeves with the Becket Fund for Religious Liberty joins us now with more on what's happening in Michigan and across the country when it comes to religious liberty for faith-based foster care and adoption agencies. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Sure, Heather. Happy to be here.
Tell us, Becket has several faith-based child placement agencies that it is representing right now. And tell us what is happening with St. Vincent Catholic Charities in Michigan. What is it challenging in court?
Yes, we represent two different faith-based agencies, one in Philadelphia and St. Vincent, like you mentioned. We also represent a number of families that work with these agencies and that would lose the ability to partner with an agency they can rely on and have relied on for years. For example, the Buck family has worked with St. Vincent to adopt 5 special needs kids. And if St. Vincent closes, they would lose the ability to continue providing that important ministry.
All right, and of course, critics are saying that you're discriminating when you won't work with LGBT couples. What's the argument that you're making in court?
The argument is that the state contracts with a diverse array of agencies, and the state has recognized that that diversity is important to helping kids in need. For example, Catholic agencies like St. Vincent have about 45% of the kids adopted each year have special needs, and that's a particular niche and a need that these agencies fill that no one else in the state is able to accomplish. Similarly, agencies like the Catholic Charities that we represent better place older children and sibling groups in a way that other agencies can't. So when you lose this diverse array of agencies serving Michigan's diverse population, it hurts kids in need, and putting kids first is really the most important thing here.
Well, and that's interesting because the Michigan Attorney General and others, of course, have made the argument consistently that more children will be served if faith-based agencies are forced to work with LGBT couples. But it sounds like you're saying the opposite, that more children will be served if you're allowed to stay in the arena and carry out your beliefs.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. Agencies like St. Vincent, consistent with Catholic teaching, aren't able to endorse same-sex relationships, and that's a really minor part of the foster care system, but an important part for agencies like St. Vincent. So if the state doesn't allow them to continue operating as they have for the past several decades, they will have to shut down, and that's not good for anybody.
Well, several states, including Michigan, have passed laws protecting the religious beliefs of child placement agencies, but the Michigan Attorney General now says that law doesn't apply if agencies are under contract with the state. So I'm wondering, are these laws that we're seeing not much of a protection?
I think the Attorney General has just chosen not to apply the law. I think that's the real problem here. The law that was passed in 2015 was specifically designed to protect agencies like St. Vincent, and several foster families and other agencies that contract directly with the state testified in support of the law. And much of the preamble of the law talks about the value of these private faith-based agencies working with the state to help kids in need. So I think the law does what it says, and the state has chosen to ignore that.
Well, we know there's several of these cases around the country right now, and a lot of disagreement. Do you see this ultimately going to the Supreme Court?
I do. We just had a ruling in the Third Circuit, which is covering Pennsylvania and our case there, and we're looking at the next steps in that case. There's a case developing in New York as well, and there's some recent development in South Carolina that's been in the news. So I think, this issue is percolating nationally, and I think it's no surprise because we see a large need for more foster parents. With the opioid crisis and other things, we need more parents helping these kids who have been displaced from their homes. And when the states look to do that, one of the first lines of defense is these faith-based agencies, because they're so good at recruiting families that might not otherwise choose to foster or adopt.
A lot of high stakes for kids. Nick Reeves with the Becket Fund, thanks for your time.
Sure, thank you.